Welcome back to the Kings, Queens, and everything in between. It's another episode of the Peasant Party Podcast. I am your host, Charlotte Warren. To my right is...
Hi, I'm Annabelle. I'm co-host.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
And y'all know Annabelle. There is for anyone who's watching on video, there's a very obvious difference. We are at the same studio. They have opened a new room. It looks really, really sick. It looks like we're in like the waiting room for heaven or something.
Yes.
I need to, like, I have certain outfits that I wear to like record that like look better on camera and stuff, but that's also the room with the other background.
The red sundress is hitting though.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna. There's different outfits I'll probably end up like wearing, but
you match your Lone Star.
I do match my Lone Star. But anyway, change of scenery, same studio. We love Media Pouch. They're just growing because people love them so damn much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else is new? What were you saying? What were you saying about this room?
I was saying, it reminds me of that one SpongeBob episode, the famous one where they go all the way back in time to the caveman, and then they go all the way forward, and it's just Squidward in like. Essentially like limbo, the end of time, and it's like the big white room and the words are like floating up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That episode haunted me bad as a kid.
Yeah.
Haunted me bad. Forced to confront mortality.
Had some wild episodes.
Yeah, they did. They had some existential
they
little
did.
pieces in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Very relatable show, even as an adult nowadays. But yeah, we're in the gates. We're at the gates of heaven because they won't let us in because we're degenerates.
Dang it.
I know. We'll get there soon enough. Maybe if we help our listeners / some of the Redditors who will probably not hear this, but other people can and glean information from it.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll let us in if we're helpful enough.
Yeah.
But before we do, anything new on your end? Life updates, thoughts about dating and topics and stuff?
Well, have you had an episode since your big news?
Yeah.
You have. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've already talked about it.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Boop.
Because you knew.
I haven't. Yes.
There were two people, I guess technically three, who were aware that this was my engagement was coming before it happened. Annabelle, and then one of my best friends, Ashley, was one of them, and then obviously Ashley's fiance.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys kept a secret. Like I thought.
Well, I knew like a month prior.
Yeah.
But he's like, I think I'm gonna do it next month. I was like, okay. Yeah. And then like a week before, he's like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought my birthday was a great choice. Like he got some comment on like a TikTok that was like, wow, you just stole the thunder from her birthday. And it's like, what the fuck else did I do for my 32nd birthday?
That's so funny. I think that's so silly. Yeah. People being like, oh, you're consolidating it so that you don't have to do anything
it's
special.
A good gift. I think also it's a 32nd birthday. Like what the fuck else are you like? I think
it's
it was
a
perfect.
day where you already feel great. It's like all about you anyway.
Also, I was dressed up for dinner. Like there was every little like cover story he told me was believable, and my birthday made it possible. I think like if it was just like a random day, he would have had to really like scrape the bottom of the barrel to come up with something and make it make sense. But,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for all of your help with that.
Of course.
It was a beautiful day. I'm really excited for the wedding as well. That'll be...
Yup, and I'm maid of honor. Have I done an episode with you? Oh, yeah. I think we did do one, or we...
No, we did it like a few days before, so you would have known.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, it was... Yeah, Annabelle is the maid of honor. I haven't formally asked my bridesmaids yet, but I think they all know. I think I've said
you didn't even need to ask me. I already was
I made a given. Yeah, like there is. I think I sent a few drunken texts that basically told them.
Yes.
And I've either been in their weddings before, like they're close enough. Like it's a tight circle, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be five. There's 5 in total.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do dress stuff.
Yes. Oh, I'm so
Batch
excited.
Stuff.
Ooh.
You're gonna have to honestly. You're probably gonna have to teach me a lot about the politics of weddings because I think
you were the
so
perfect
few.
person for it.
I'm like, fuck, I have never been to a batch party. I've never been
I will have the other
in a wedding party.
I won't say that, but I will have the other bridesmaids who have done them like help with that.
Okay.
What I need you for is a good speech. I need you if there's any antics. That's why it's good that you are the maid of honor between family, weird
totally,
stuff. Someone has a weird thing they want to do at the wedding that is like weird and intrusive. You get to be the bandhammer, which I think you'll be great at.
I'm working. Give me a headset. Give me a headset and a clipboard.
If anyone shows up wearing white, you can spill wine on their dress.
Yeah.
Which totally. I think, like, I almost hope someone does because I feel like that would just be funny to watch.
You know what I feel like needs to be done, frankly, for weddings?
Yes.
Pre-approving people's speeches. Because Is that a thing? Is that
so? It totally is.
Because I feel like there are so many weddings where it can like really take the air out of the room and ruin the vibe if somebody's just like bye bye bye. I mean, we've seen a bunch of them on TikTok.
Oh, totally. And like I know some people have just what some people do is they're just like, hey, like the venue wants to like look at the speech so they know like how to time it and stuff. And so like they like people come up with cover stories to get the speech ahead of time, or like, oh, the planner wants to know, so they know what they can plan for, and then that way they can like veto certain things.
Yeah, if you have like an unpredictable friend.
Yeah, like it's very
yeah.
Like people have their ways of doing them. Like everyone always says with speeches, like tell stories that you have told before and you've already seen the reaction. So like if there's a funny story, if it's a funny story, whatever, like tell stories you've already told. If you don't know for sure that you're funny, just go heartfelt. If you don't like the person the other person's marrying, just talk about how lucky they are to be with your friend. Like there's a whole bunch of like weird little like short tips that I think work well for it. But
ooh, I'm excited.
Me too.
I have to write a few drafts, and I also want to do like artwork for your wedding too. If there's like invitations or whatever.
Save the dates and stuff like that. We got to pick our date because of and exact venue. Crazy. It will. I think it's going to be in Riviera Maya. I don't want to be like right in Cancun because it's just like all the resorts are close together. I want the jungle look.
Mexico, I love
it. I think it's gonna be the Hard Rock Riviera Maya.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
I think that'll fit too. Like we kind of got an edgy crowd. I think.
Oh my god, I love Mexico. This is gonna be so fun.
I'm very excited. We have a fun family. My dad is one of 5 siblings, and they're all very fun.
Yeah,
I think they will be fun. I think they're on board. I hope they are.
Yeah,
I think it'll be fun. But yeah, any like top of mind like weird TikTok things and dating opinions you have that you just want to blurt out before we go into letters?
You know, my feed is so gendered. Okay, so number 1, the flawed villain. I don't know if you've been seeing all this.
What the fuck is
villain.
A flawed villain? The flawed, not flawed. Like, what's a flawed?
No, the flawed.
F-A-L-A. Okay, yeah.
L-A-W-E-D. Yeah. Quick rise to fame and then pretty quickly canceled again. Got whiplash from that one. Just
it's a username. It's not like a trope.
It's a username. Yeah, it's a gal, and she was kind of doing like female centric content, and then and people were like, I only put faith in the flawed villain. She knows everything. She is, taking her word for gospel. Which there's kind of a lot of these like. Creators that do this.
I always like I'll go jump right back to you like it's always like people that like go and like make their identity like being a good person and calling out all the bad people. They always end up being these fucking assholes, and I think it's like they're just looking for attention at like and people to worship them anywhere, and like that's really their ultimate goal, and like more than anything like they don't actually care about a cause. Just like I think some people are attracted to certain causes that are noble in theory, but they pick it because they can be a bully in a way that's socially acceptable. Like they can.
Yes, and do you think I really feel like I mean, who knows, they probably were this person the whole time, but like I really feel like when a creator kind of shoots to that status and they have so many people who are like agreeing with them, applauding them in the comments, I do wonder and just being like, I only listen to you, you're so right, thank you for you're my oracle, whatever. I think that people's trust in you in a creator can cause them to corrupt. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there is like when you have the instant spike, like I think I've had like little spikes like as I've grown as a creator, but like for the most part it's been like steady upward growth over 3 years at this point. And like I've had some hiccups. I haven't been like canceled, but I've had like I've had misses. I've had things where I just like I went over my head that a trend was more like serious than it was when I thought it was like going to be more jokey, things like that. And it's like when you have these like little kind of misses and kicks, like you can adjust accordingly. You kind of learn like here's what works, here's what doesn't, and if it's all at once, like and you're just kind of like going from like everyday person to like instant popularity, like. You kind of need those like little like probably shouldn't do that. Like
if it arrives all at once, it leaves all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you can think about this in the context of celebrity too. Like I think about like Chappell Rowan, which of course she was probably like she's a theater diva always.
Yes,
so she always kind of had a little bit of attitude, and I can see she was. Why she would be like resentful being so suddenly hugely famous. and then being like, well, I've been doing this forever. Like, this wasn't just like I hit it big once this year. I've been doing this for so long and finally got noticed, you know? Yeah. But the way that she interacts with fans, the way that she interacts with the media, like it just comes off as like so stuck up. And so,
yeah,
you know, she was just rocketed to stardom after like Coachella last year.
Which like there's something about it that's kind of endearing, but you're also just like, God damn, this girl needs a publicist. Like,
yeah. And because I feel like once you begin to dig a hole for yourself,
stop digging.
You start sliding into it. Like, you know, it was kind of like at that point then people are like, oh, she's so real, so of course she's gonna like play that up and be real interviews and then say some stupid shit.
Exactly.
So I think I don't know, so the whole thing with the flawed villain, she's like a female creator and made some crazy comments describing immigrants as illegals, and then it was like, oh, she's conservative. What? So crazy, so strange, like the switch up.
But I always think it's so funny when people who pitch this like, I'm a high value blah blah blah, or like all these things where it's like you need a provider man blah blah blah, and then like they say all these things that are like just red pill ass bullshit repackaged, and then people are like, what do you mean they're conservative, or like what do you mean they have a misogynistic take? It's like,
yeah, totally. Well, yeah, I think
that's on you for missing it, because I see that shit from a mile away. I'm like, yeah, fuck that shit. Like, and it's not even like a political thing as much as it's like, oh God, this person's gonna be fucking annoying. Like,
yes, exactly. And then kind of piggybacking off of that, the other thing that I was thinking about on my drive here, because I was listening to Sabrina Carpenter, is all of these complicated emotions about her album cover. Have you seen it?
I have. I'm just like, this is,
right?
I just think it's interesting because like she is a very female centric singer artist. Yes. And so it's interesting where it's like I could see how there's some like satire of like old marketing materials. Like if you look at like old like cigarette ads, and she kind of has that pin-up-y look, but it's just interesting because like you know, people say like, oh, like the Sydney Sweeney bathwater stuff.
Yeah.
But Sydney Sweeney has always been like, you know, appeal, like she's, you know, like she's leaned into like the male. I hate female male gaze because I think it's just annoying. Like I think it's just people are pretty or they're ugly. I don't know.
Sure.
But like, yeah, like I think like she's kind of leaned into like, I'm the girl's girl, and it's like, wait, what's this? Like I don't know, but.
Yeah, see, I feel like it's not fair to be like, oh, people are enraged over it.
I also just don't give a shit because, like, I just see her as, like, a Disney Channel kid kind of deal. Like, she's a kid to me. Like, I don't know.
I love Sabrina
Carpenter. I don't know her. I couldn't tell you the first thing she sings.
I do love her. I understand why it's a fair critique. Of course, you should critique art. We talk about this all the time. Yeah, but I know we have to get onto these questions. But yeah, I thought it was interesting how the Sydney Sweeney bathwater, and then because for listeners who don't know, Sydney Sweeney is selling her bathwater imbued in soap or something like that.
It's a soap that's branded as Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
It's a kitschy. It's not really her. It's a kitschy marketing gimmick.
I know
that she is co-signed off of.
But it's like, dude, she doing sex work when you really don't need that. You don't need that money, Sydney.
I'm also just like, I think it's just leaning into a bit because I don't like. It's soap. Like soap has to pass like tests. It's not. It's just like it's a gimmick that they threw her face on. Like it's Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. Like it's a brand collaboration. I don't know. So I like it would be sex work if it was her if she was going and selling her bathwater.
And in that way, because it's simply an advertisement and it's not artwork of her own creation, it's no creativity coming from her. It's a gimmick. I condemn that a lot harder than I would condemn Sabrina Carpenter creating a complicated work of art.
I mean,
they don't stand toe to toe to me.
I just think they're both totally like two just like meh attempts at marketing that other people have done. That's why I'm like, when there's like uproar about this stuff, I'm like, this kind of like this sort of thing happens like all the time. Like this is just meh marketing campaigns that just like didn't land. I don't know. I don't think they're a big deal. I also I don't follow either. Like I think Sydney Sweeney is a good actor in some good movies. Sabrina Carpenter, I think she's for kids. I don't get it.
They're both pretty blonde girls of the moment. So I think that's like the through line is just observing how differently we treat these two women and
I don't know. But
what they produce.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we've got letters.
Sorry. First one. Mailbag. How soon is too soon to date after getting out of a relationship? Met an awesome guy while out with friends and exchanged numbers, and we quickly planned a date for a few days later. On the date, we had great conversation, except for one thing giving me pause. He mentioned that he just got out of a 3-year relationship a month and a half ago with a girl who is pretty intertwined in his friend group and might need to take things slow. He stressed he really liked me and wanted to see where things can go, and that he's always been a relationship guy, but that he's in an interesting situation that could make things complicated. Oh my God. My friends all say to ditch him. Yes. And that this excuse is no different from a guy saying he's, quote, not looking for anything serious. And that anyone out of a relationship that recent, quote, isn't ready to date. I'd listen in any other situation, but I'm super into this guy. Thoughts?
I mean, I don't think it's like some big cover story. I think most people, when they say things, like most people genuinely believe what they're saying is true as they are saying it. Like, I think he's probably like, yeah, I do like it.
Sure.
But I also think like
totally
people also just in the moment don't always assess situations for what they like are. I do think so. Do I think it's like the typical excuse, like just like an excuse, something like he made up that he's like put out there so he can come back to it later intentionally? No, but I also think people that are recently out of a relationship just like kind of don't know what they're doing. I think like something that happens with people that are just recently out of a relationship is they tend to date you the way that they would date a significant other because it's just what they know. Like people that have been single a while, that have been on a few dates, they're like, oh, like, if I do this, it will make a person think they like me, or it will come off as leading them on. If I, if I do this and it doesn't mean anything, so like, better make sure that I either, don't do those things, or I'm, very clear that it's just, I'm asking you to this event just for fun. It's not, whatever. And I think people recently out of a relationship like kind of miss those cues, so they like. Right off the bat, he's going to come off like a guy who wants a relationship just because it's what he knows, even if he doesn't intend for it to mean that way. Okay. So I think maybe like there could be some artificial attraction going on because he's treating you the way he would treat a girlfriend because it's what he knows.
Yeah.
So I think that's the case. I think like there's also just the part of it too where I'm like, anytime there's like someone who tells you that something on a first date that like gives you pause, or you're just like, oh, like this is just, this is going to be a person that's going to be difficult. It's kind of like there's other fish in the sea. You've been on one date. I would assume you live in a city with other people that live in it. Mm-hmm. Like, why not just go with someone who's kind of who talks more like they're ready to go, who seems a bit more intentional. Mm-hmm. And, like there's always like there's nothing, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with him, but it's just kind of like there's other fish in the sea type of deal.
Yes, it's true. I feel strongly just like reading this. If all the events happened exactly the way that they said they did, I would say the success rate of you ending up with this guy and everything being just fine and it not being absolute torture for a long time, it's probably about 1%. Like, yeah. It's just such like a classic tale. And I'm sure many other women, like their worst dating nightmare, the worst dating nightmare is when you start talking to someone and then either they tell you, which is worse, or you hear from someone else that the ex has not only traumatized them, but is still in the picture or whatever. Or it's not only a long-term relationship where they were deeply entangled in each other's lives, but they're still in the picture. Him saying something like that, oh, she's still in the friend group and it might make things complicated, tells me he's still talking to her at least. Yeah. So it's like, she's probably out, and when she's drunk, she texts him.
Yeah.
And that's how and he's going to be sympathetic to that.
Yeah.
And like you might I know that sucks.
Because no one's going to go into a date and be like, yeah, my ex and I are still close. We talk all the time. Like that does feel like a kind of blanket statement for like things are still complicated here. Like she's kind of ingrained in the friend group as a way that you would describe an ex that is still like there's still something there, like without being like, oh yeah, I still keep in touch. Because if you say like my ex and I are friends, people like run for the hills. It's kind of a way to say that. And then
go ahead.
Yeah, what was I getting at? No, say what you were gonna say because I totally forgot my train of thought.
Like the whole like the ex is still in the picture too. Him dating you and you becoming present in his life and possibly his friend group will cause a problem. When she decides to move on and start seeing someone else, it will cause a problem. Like, whether, like you said, I think people are going into things, they're not like, I'm gonna, they really do believe what they're saying, but that's the fucking problem. Like, yeah, of course he is, but the circumstances determine that this is not gonna work out.
Yeah.
Or it will just be way more heartache than it's worth.
Yes. Oh yeah, the thing I was going to add was just I think there is a difference between like, is someone who's recently out of a relationship ready to date as a general question? There's a difference between that and then the specific situation she's describing, because there are people who are recently out of a relationship, for example, where they get out of a relationship because they'd been in a relationship for 2 years and they told their partner, like, you know, I would like to be getting engaged, I would like to be getting married, and that isn't happening, and they're ready to go. Like, that's a different story than, you know, oh, like my ex is still in the friend group and like blah blah blah. Like, I think there are situations where people are recently out of a relationship and they are ready for a new relationship. They are not going in and being like, oh, my ex is still ingrained in the friend group, so I kind of need to take it slow because it's complicated. Like,
yes.
I think like, I don't think this guy is lying to you as much as he's lying to himself, or he just hasn't figured his shit out. He's recently out of a relationship. People recently out of a relationship
1 month
are clueless.
1 month.
1 month, they're clueless.
Bro, no.
If it was 3 years, did she say they're 20? Did she say the ages? I swear, maybe I'm thinking of another letter. No, she didn't. No, that was a different letter. But like 3 years, if they were like in their 20s, that's a while. Like the jump from 24 to 27 or like 25 to 28, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
And it's just different. So I would just say there's like, I'm going to give like that there's other fish in the sea. It's not like there's a ton invested. I would just pursue other stuff and like, you know, like you've probably got other options. I don't know.
Yes. It also just, it's going to suck in more ways than just romantic. Like when you are now in the group, in the friend group, or going to, you know, some dinner or something, who knows what this friend group is comprised of, but guaranteed the girls in the friend group are way better friends with her. You know?
You're also walking into like, because like people are always like, oh, like when you marry someone, you don't just marry the person, you marry the family, you marry like their friend. It's like there's a little bit of that when you start dating someone. Like I don't know, like I've always enjoyed when I had started dating somebody new, you go and you meet the friends and everyone's excited to see you there. Like walking into something where people are just, you know, like, you're
or they're being like nice to sort of
you have to wonder if they like you or what's being said about you. Like
you have to be like kind of quiet and meek and not yourself.
Yeah,
because you're putting on the best face and trying to basically compete with his ex. Like that is a horrible. God, I mean, it's canon. I feel every woman has to like experience that at some point where you're just confronted with the ex in some way. It's horrible, but then once you do it, then you're like, oh, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Find somebody that is excited to be with you and doesn't have. I mean, honestly, you're probably at the back of his mind. His ex is probably in the front. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's not about you. Promise, girl. It's nothing to do with you.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like, yeah, I think there can sometimes be the, you know, feeling of like, oh, like if I move on too fast in a way that's like, you know, they've got like a front row seat or like a middle seat to it because they've seen you, they are going to see you, they're forced to see you because of some other circumstance, like you got mutual friends, you work together or something like that. Like I get that there is some like, you know, oh, let's, you know, maybe hold off on the Instagram post or something like just out of courtesy. I get that those kinds of things can happen. Just like you hear the stories of, you know, people who are multi-dating until they get into a relationship and like they keep multi-dating until they, you know, ask someone to be their significant other. And they're kind of like, hey, can we, you know, hold off on that first Instagram post together? Cause like, it's gonna, you know, someone's gonna get mad.
Yeah.
Like I get that there's like, there can sometimes be that, but like when you go into it with you know, just so you know, we need to take things slow. Like it's just, it has all of the signs of someone who's still figuring shit out.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Let them figure shit out with other people.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yes.
I would have to agree. Ugh, sorry, girl. Sorry.
Well, I'm going to read you a letter that might anger you.
Let's go! Charlotte told me I have to stay composed for this.
You can react.
Stay focused.
We just have to. Stay focused on the Stay focused on the letter. Okay. Am I wrong for wanting a stay-at-home mom? I am 35, male, tall, healthy. My mom says I'm handsome. It actually says that. And I have a solid job as a U.S. airline pilot, former military officer. I'm easy to talk to and a good communicator. I'm witty, sarcastic, and funny. Moderate politically, pretty empathetic. Getting and enjoying dates isn't an issue. Cool. I'm starting to realize that I want a family. With my job, I'm beginning to see how difficult it will be for both my future wife and I to work. I am gone a random 3 days a week, like 9 to 13 days a month on average. When I am gone, pretty much everything would fall on my wife. If she works full-time and has to raise kids full-time, that's just not fair. So to caveat as well, when I'm not working, I'm home and present. Work does not come home with me. My sister trusts me with her young kids, and I do all other adult things. So my dream, it would be happily married, 2 kids, living somewhere with a big yard, traveling, often as a family, homeschooling kids at some point between the ages of 9 and 13 while potentially living abroad, cook together, live a relatively modest home life, no keeping up with the Joneses, fully support kids' activities, sports. However, there's several issues I come across. I am 35. All the other women who are roughly 35 are well established in their careers. Take a drink. And their identity is often tied to their professional success. That's awesome for them, but it's not what I am looking for. I am also in a high cost of living area, so they have to be relatively successful just to be able to survive and exist in my hinge range. How to find someone who has ambition but is willing to sacrifice their career? Hey, I know you worked your ass off for the past decade or so, but I want you to give that all up so you can be a stay-at-home mom and put everything you worked for on hold for 2 decades. You know, I feel like it took me a while to get where I am today, so the women who always wanted to be stay-at-home moms, they also just seem to be exactly that right now, but they're married to somebody else. It's a problem. Issue 2, I'm also afraid to put myself out there and fall for someone who is looking for a free ride. It's kind of tricky in the dating arena, and I don't really know how to approach it. How do I prove that I can provide, but also not let myself be taken advantage of? I don't flaunt my wealth by any means, but I'm not frugal either. So I guess my question is, this is like the most controversial post on the Dating Over 30 subreddit. By the way, you're not asking this, but anyway, are these preferences realistic? If not, where would I best find and how could I best vet for someone who fits this description? What's the best way to communicate this without coming off like an asshole or like I don't respect women who do prioritize a career, even if they're not for me? Also, if it matters, I don't have issues dating divorced or single moms. It's just hard to get to know them early on in dating with both schedules and obligations. A lot to unpack. Do you want to take like 30 seconds for a rant of whatever you want to say? And then we'll jump into picking things apart?
Just pick someone and gaslight them, I guess. I don't know. Manipulate them, trick them into being what the fuck you... My thing is, like, this takes so many directions because why do you have to take a woman's career away from her? Why is that even part of this? I think it started out reasonable. Actually, I completely understand it. I think this is like something that, you know, a lot of us have to come to grips with, especially given like the economical situation of the country.
People getting older, parents, you know, grandparents are less young and in the picture.
Yeah. Clearly, this guy has an established career, has thought about the future, has thought about it in like a logical, reasonable way too. Because there are plenty of people who are like, let's have a baby, who cares? Like, who cares? But he clearly is thinking about like the well-being of his family and thinking about how he would provide. It's objectively true. He's going to be gone for this and this much time because he's a pilot, but otherwise he'll try to like travel as a family, whatever. It's what he wants. I think that's fucking fair. I think that's totally fair. To be like, I would love to, have a family like this, and I completely provide for my wife, given that she completely provides for the children while I'm not there, and whatever. But, brother, I think there's a lot of women who'd be down for that. I think there's a lot of women who would love to do that. I think, like, it's this misconception that every woman has a career and is fiercely independent and doesn't want, and like... I think that, yes, there are a lot of women now who prioritize themselves over serving a man. But in those situations, like a lot of those women choose that because it becomes serving a man and not receiving anything back. Like, if you are serious and you mean it truly from the bottom of your heart and you have this intention and you do follow through, then yes, that would be a functional family unit. The reason that so many women reject that now is because they never follow through. Or it's the kindness starts to slip, the mask starts to fall, and they don't want to provide. And then they start to think like, I go to work all day long and I come home and you want more from me. And it's like, yeah, because you work for 8 hours, I work for 24 hours. You don't see childcare as a legitimate job, which it is, by the way. I think that's something to consider and something for...
stay-at-home mom is a full-time job.
This writer, a full-time job. And you're not even taking into account the fact of, which I think a lot of people do not think about this and don't have this discussion before they have kids, the very, very real possibility that your child has special needs, or there's, some complication or something, learning disability, what have you. Like, you're assuming you're going to have 2 perfectly healthy children, healthy, smart, capable children. Ideally, that's the hope. Let's hope. Girl, praying for you. But, like, I think the atomic family unit dream, I mean, there's just so many, like, holes in the idea.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like your answer.
So yeah,
I thought we would go another direction.
Well, no, because shit, that's fine. I prioritize my career, and I would want somebody that like.
And he respects it. He wouldn't want to date you, but he respects it.
But that's the thing. I'm like, there's probably a lot of girls. Honestly, there's probably a lot of women who are like, oh, fuck yeah. You mean I don't have to like go have a job and work? I've always wanted to be a mother. There are a lot of women who their dream is to be a mother and be a stay-at-home mother, because there's a lot of women who are like, well, if I have kids, of course I want to stay at home with them. I don't want to go to work.
He seems to not want to, or he seems to be wanting to date in his own age. I don't know what his age range is, but he did say like women around my age, 35.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, I don't know what his age range is, but so my issues with the letter came with like the weird little things, and like granted I pulled this and I was like able to like read these like little things. My whole thing wasn't so much like, oh yeah, a wife who's a stay-at-home mom, as much as the weird little things. Yes. I think, and we love the term cake slut here. It's a term that I made up because people who are dating influencers get to make up buzzwords to make themselves feel special.
Remind me, cake slut. What's cake slut?
That is when someone wants somebody with traits that tend to exist at odds with each other. And like it's one of those.
You want to have your cake and eat it too, yeah.
You want to have your cake and eat it too, and you want 2 traits. Like every good trait comes with kind of like an annoying caveat. I would say
totally.
And there's just kind of you're dating in this high cost of income area. You're dating people who are kind of like around your age. Like there's some sort of weird asks in here. Like the biggest things for me was first there was part of his letter where he says, I've been thinking and I realize I want this. So he hasn't been thinking about it for that long.
Yeah.
So I think he needs to do more thinking, because I think this is kind of like there's a lot of details in some areas, and then there's like a lot that's like weirdly vague. Part of me is also just like, is this a person just writing like a Reddit, like I'm going to fuck with Reddit letter and just get people riled up? But
maybe, but I feel like it can't be that uncommon for a man to have this idea. I think there are plenty of people.
Yes, but I think the idea is like somebody who hasn't really thought about the idea, like applying how that idea would actually play out, nor have they gone on dates and like kind of gotten a sense for how people respond to this idea or what's realistic.
It is giving. I want a wife and kids, not I want to be a husband and father.
That's one of them.
It is giving that a little bit. But also, I mean, I think the function of a family is something that's important to think about and be intentional about when you're dating at that age.
Yes.
So if he has already thought this out, if he's already dated people and, they project their future in front of them and they realize it won't work, and then he's kind of like, well, I guess the lifestyle that I would need is this.
Yes. So
if I want to maintain my career and do what I am doing and prioritize that, which as a pilot, I'm sure you do.
So, yeah. So I think where I'm going, because I don't want to throw out a buzzword and be vague and then just like, I think there's a few weird nuances. Homeschool is a weird one. like, or I don't want to say it's a weird one.
He said politically moderate and homeschooling. Those kind.
I want to homeschool between.
I think those two are good.
I want to homeschool between the ages of 9 and 13.
Yeah, that's giving RFK. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to be political, but
I think like the homeschool thing, like that's where you're gonna lose people. Like that's
giving.
Where,
I don't believe in germ theory.
Well, he hasn't explained. There are some people, like everyone has their own reasons for homeschooling. Like if you look at kids that are homeschooled, it exists on a spectrum. You've got people on one crazy, like one end of things, and then one on the other, with parents that have wildly different values, even though they seem very, very similar when you actually talk to them. Yeah. There is no. What's your explanation for wanting homeschooling? Because that's something where you narrowed down your dating pool, a lot. Like homeschooling is where you're gonna be. That's gonna be the people that are married pretty young, or like a whole different version of like free spirited kind of deal. So that one, I'm kind of like. That's where you're gonna lose.
He was homeschooled.
He didn't explain it.
Yeah,
we kind of need it. We need a. I think he should unpack like why he wants the homeschooling. Like why does that matter so much? Because there's a difference between like a wife who wants to. I would like a wife who just is. I don't want to say like is willing to give, because I think there's a difference between woman who is willing to give up her career to be a stay-at-home mom while I go and work, and someone who wants to be a mother and. That's her, first priority over anything else. Those are two different things, especially in the year that we're at. Like, I think also like a pilot, like when you're a pilot, there is no work from home. There is no like work-life integration. It's, you go to work and then you come home. There are a lot of other careers that, are very different nowadays. Like there's remote work. There are people who are, business owners. One cool thing about when you're dating people that are a bit older, who are more established in their careers, is they've gotten to a point where they can make more asks from their employer. I want to work from home. Mm-hmm. I would like to go to part-time. I would like to be a independent contractor. They've made the connections to do that. Like, it's not just girl boss, goes to work 40 hours a week the way you do, or stay-at-home mom forever. There's kind of like an in-between that is really unique and really cool for nowadays, that allows people to work more, kind of pick and choose. Like there are careers that are notoriously maybe like less demanding, or more like nurturing, or like female, or like more nurturing, or like parent centric, like an elementary school teacher or something like that, where they're around kids all the time. It's a easier hours. It's maybe they're not homeschooling, but their kids go to the mom's school, like that sort of thing. Right. So I don't think, like, I think there's kind of this like big black and white thinking, which maybe as a pilot, that's what you think. You're working in like one of the most regulated industries in the world. Like there's other careers out there, but yeah, I think like you got to frame it as like, unless you truly are like, I want someone who's willing to give up her career. Like I think there's also like, I would frame that as I want someone who's very interested and excited to be a parent, and that's their first priority. And this is my career. Like how can you make how could we make this work, versus like give up your career? I think there's a negative connotation with that, and I hope that's not. I hope that's just how he's messaged it versus like his actual mindset. But that, and then homeschooling. That's an interesting one. Like that's gonna lose people.
I will say, I think the homeschooling comes from him being a pilot. I think that would be my guess. Is like. Granted, like I don't exactly know how like a pilot parent works. I know that they travel a lot with their family. I had a couple kids, two twins that I knew in high school, and their dad was a sailor, so they of course were homeschooled because they were always traveling all over the place. Like it's probably that would be my guess. Yeah, I know that did sound a little triggering.
Yeah, there was somewhere it was like open to living abroad. It's like. You're kind of like mixing a lot of different traits that tend to fit different personalities, but like not together. Like the world traveler type who also believes in homeschooling and is willing to give up their career. That's how he's framed it. Like it's sort of a lot of traits that don't really go together.
Yes. And it also, I mean, I guess it depends truly what you value in the personality, in the person. That you are deciding to build this life with, because you're going to be a lot harder pressed finding a woman who's willing to do this that is educated, or that is like capable of some sort of independence. This question, it's crazy. It kind of, I mean, it hits pretty close to home, not to like air our family out too much, but our mom is Ivy League educated. She has a master's degree in landscape architecture. And, you know, it's funny. For the longest time, I truly thought that she was resentful, remiss about kind of giving up her career to raise a family, which, like, there were a lot of little things in between there that, like, kind of led to that. But I always thought she was, like, felt bitter about it because she's so gung-ho insane about academics with us, and almost to a degree where she, like, I know you felt this, I felt this, where she doesn't want to talk about, like, our romantic lives. She's like, that's so secondary. She, like, it almost doesn't want to hear about it. It's like more about your productiveness and your education and your ability and your career and whatever, which I really do appreciate a lot. But when I was in Denver recently and we saw my Aunt Susie, we weren't talking about that specifically, but it came up and she was like, oh no, I remember when you guys were little and she was considering, giving it up to just be essentially a homemaker, to be a mother, to raise kids. And she very specifically had said, like, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. I just want to raise my kids. Like, she genuinely wanted that and, like, loved it. And it just totally changed the way that I, like, saw everything. I mean, I guess people are capable of changing their mind too.
Totally.
You know, like, being a mom, I have to imagine, is, like, the craziest, greatest job. I mean, it's whatever you make it. But yeah, I definitely, like, this does, like, ring that bell in my head of asking a woman to give up her career that she worked so hard for. But yeah, I don't know. I think you can definitely meet in the middle. I think it's hard. It's hard.
It is. And one thing I like, because I don't like the word resentful, because I don't think our mother's resentful.
I
will say one thing that she is. I would say that she's kind of like not regretful, but kind of like oh damn it, like I was born at the wrong time. One thing that she has said is like, damn it, I wish that I was around it, like I was born a little bit late, that this was a little bit later where remote work was a thing, or like you know, there was more more careers in technology and stuff like that, or the technology was already here, because she was a landscape architect. A challenge that she faced was everything was paper and drawing based.
Oh my God,
when she took the time off to spend time with her family.
And then tried to return.
AutoCAD.
All of her
she didn't know the technology.
Skills were obsolete. Yeah.
So she's kind of like,
sucks.
You know, had this happened nowadays, like I think there would have been more room to be like a remote worker, like just like kind of scratch that itch. Because like I think there are people where it's just you're an entrepreneurial person. You like to talk to people outside your home. Like I firmly believe too, when I think about what I want in life, I think I will be a better person if I am interacting with people outside the home and knowing what's going on. Like I've known people where they, you know, become stay-at-home moms and they just kind of it's the internet and their family, and then they start saying weird stuff. Yeah. I also think like I want my kids to be prepared to enter the world, to get into to get a good job. And the best way for me to help them do that is to have personal connections with, you know, successful people, so that they are able to
set that example as well.
Set that example so that they have those connections. They, you know, maybe if I have some sort of work dinner event and they come, they know how to interact with other successful adults. Like they're less in this like kiddo silo.
Yeah.
And I think that's what will make me a better parent, is integrating that into how I raise my children. And I think that's important. Like I think not all careers are created equal. There are some people who really, really successfully integrate their family into their career if they're passionate about it. Like, I don't know. I do think this guy's thinking a little, I think this is what happens when people think in hypotheticals, like they're getting ahead of things and they're like focusing on some details, but not others. I think there's, you know, if you're in a high cost of living area, it seems like, as far as I can tell, like he wants to date a smart woman and stuff like that. Like, I hope that he doesn't actually view it as like, I want a woman to give up her career, but like frame that differently. Think of it in your head as like someone whose priority is, you know, family. They're excited about raising a family, not give up the career.
Totally. Finding someone who, if anything, is willing to compromise for the shared goal of a family, which you will have to do too. Bear that in mind. Like if you're going into it being like, she compromises, I don't. No matter what, even as a pilot, your life will change when you become a father, and you will have to make compromises. You will have to make sacrifices.
Yeah. I would also ask, just unpack the homeschool thing. Just like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
because homeschooling is bad or wrong. Like it's not for me. Like I think I want my children around other children and people around adults who aren't me, because I think that's how you get really well socialized.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. But I think you got to be able to explain why that's important to you and why you want it. And like international travel, stuff like that. Like if you're living internationally and stuff like that, it's the best thing to do is put your kids in those schools so they learn the language and they actually get ingrained in the culture. I think that is a thing that, like, if you're like, oh yeah, like, you know, I want someone whose priority is raising a family, you know, my job is this, like, my hope is that I have someone who wants to, you know, be a stay-at-home parent. That is different than like give up your career and also you're not only are you going to be a stay-at-home mom, you're going to be a teacher too on top of that.
I mean, the thing is, he did not, that's why I think this submission is earnest. He did not come off as, you do as I say.
No, I don't get that vibe
very
at all.
much came across as like, this is what I bring to the table, and so in order for it to work, this is what somebody else would need to bring to the table, which is understandable, but potentially very short-sighted, or just
it's a logical guy who's thinking in hypotheticals, like very detailed in some areas, not with others. I think you got to go on some dates and just say these things a little less detailed. Like, what do you think about homeschooling? I do think you really understand that homeschooling preference, because that is where you're
that
lose
might
people.
be where you have to compromise.
That
might
is
be the one.
There are very specific, like the people that are looking for homeschooling or to do homeschooling are very, you know, they have their reasons for it.
Yeah, they're like,
the ones that, you know, aren't married at 22 are going to be kind of in niche areas. I will say, if you're like, just, it sounds like, you know, he's been in the military. He's a former military officer. Like you need another like military baddie girl, like a, you know, like female like analyst or something like that, where it's like, you know, family centric or something like that. They know the life, like they know the traveling. Homeschooling might be more of a common thing. Like I would lean into those. I would go into those connections because I think they will get it. Like he thinks like a guy in the military. I feel like
totally.
But yeah, like I would. You also like when you think of this, and I hope this is just how he's saying it, not how he's thinking it. But like frame this in a way that like sounds less like give up this, do that. Like woman who's like her priority is her family. She's excited about her family. Like if she's had a career, that is awesome. But like she's excited for the next thing. She doesn't want to work for people anymore. She's done what she needs to do. She's ready for what's next.
Yes.
Like if you think of it like that, it's like that's a way better thing than like give up your career. I don't know. Yeah. That's my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why I want to give this guy the benefit of the doubt so much. I feel like
I know. I was
coming from an honest
I should have given you more benefit of the doubt
because
honestly.
It's not coming from a red pill. You can tell. You can tell it's more coming from like a like I think this is how it's got to go. I don't really know. You know, it doesn't come with the inflated sense of like ego.
No,
you would expect from.
No, he doesn't sound like he thinks he's special. His mom thinks he's good looking, which that was
that's
a little
joke.
corny.
I think
that was a little
totally
corny. No, I totally was giving him shit. Like he's my mom says I'm handsome. That's like a funny cheeky thing to say. Yeah. But I think my thing was just like the homeschooling. I'm like. You're getting a little niche here.
There's
like,
got to be some other reason for that.
Yeah.
There's got to be some like
I would say like I would explore alternatives or something like that.
We have time for the last one?
Yeah, let's do the last one.
Okay, we have mailbag. Am I hooking up with a homeless man? Female 27 who has been seeing / going on dates / hanging out with a male 30 who is an industrial engineer. He's a very outdoorsy guy and we live in an expensive city, so he has gone all in on van life. Oh my God, did we date the same guy? Holy shit. Okay. He bought and restored an old camper van, which he lives in full time and parks at various campsites or wherever, showers at Planet Fitness. Oh my God. Aside from van life, he's got his shit together with a good job, great friends, and a master's degree. Girl, we dated the same guy. No, we did. I've got one of my close friends in the loop with how things are going with Van Guy. And when we got together along with our larger group of girls, I was surprised and annoyed with how she broke my news. Oh no. When another friend asked if I'd been on any good dates lately, my friend answered for me saying, she's been hooking up with a homeless dude. Bro. Of course, this got a response from my friends, and when I said, he's not homeless, what the fuck? She responded back that he doesn't have a home and that cars aren't homes. This started a whole debate at our table about whether or not van life people are homeless, and if they if they're any different from people who truly have no choice but to live out of their car. We don't have enough time to talk about this. This is amazing. I think I was mostly annoyed by my friend choosing homeless as a description for a guy who has a number of other positive qualities that I shared with her, as well as her choice to call it, quote, hooking up versus dating or seeing. But I think my friend is wrong and was also out of line here. Any thoughts? Am I dating a homeless man?
I believe the correct, you're not dating a homeless man, because the correct term is those experiencing homelessness. Do you remember
unhoused individual?
Do you remember when like COVID was going on, like I think it was the state of California, or like the city of LA, like put out a memo, and they're like, there was like a stay-at-home order, and they're like, those experiencing homelessness are exempt from the requirement to stay home. And people are just like, what the fuck? Like, experiencing homelessness? How do you do that? And it's like, well, I guess anytime you leave your house, you're experiencing homelessness.
Okay, I understand that, because they're
trying to do the thing they do with people with disabilities, where it's like you do person first, like, a person, instead of saying like a disabled person, a person with a disability. I think that can end with something that you are born with. Like,
homeless guy, though, is such an identity that I feel like that becomes a very encapsulating identity. Person experiencing homelessness is.
I will accept unhoused if it means that we're not going to say those experiencing homelessness.
I always say unhoused.
That's too far. Well, it's also just like
unhoused. It's a safe one.
But it's also just like, I'm not at home right now. I guess I'm experiencing homelessness. Like, that's just going to lead to people making fucking fun of you and calling you fucking stupid and ridiculous.
Yeah, they should have said unhoused people 100%.
Or homeless. Like, you don't have a home. Homeless.
Yes.
It's in the fucking word. It's not.
Just don't want to
if you take offense by it, like, it's a word. It's not. If it's so offensive to you, maybe it shouldn't be. Don't make it your identity.
True.
I don't know. You don't have a home. Sorry, but anyway,
you're just trying to be real with them. You're like, hey, look, listen, guy, homeless, okay?
Like, it's like you call, like, oh, a cripple. Like,
trying to be real
to call someone a cripple. Like, you don't have a home.
Look,
you're homeless.
To tell you what the fuck it
homeless.
Is. Okay.
It's not that.
It's fine, but that's what you are.
Anyway, rant over.
Anyway.
I guess maybe we're biased because I am a owner of a house and you are a renter of an apartment. So
and I always will be.
I mean, like, maybe we're biased against people who like live in cars, but like I think the bigger thing for me is like the first thing she says to your friends is like, it's a homeless guy, versus like, oh, she's been seeing this guy, she really likes him. It's kind of like, really, that's a little snarky.
I'm the girl and I'm the friend. I totally get the friend probably had a couple drinks and was like, bitch.
She's probably trying to be funny. It's annoying. Like, it's like,
sure.
It's annoying. It's
sure.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to keep it real with you, girl. Somebody has to say it. Somebody has to say it, because otherwise he's gonna be like, no, I know it's fine, and you're gonna be talking to your friends and be like, no, he really loves it. Everything's fine.
I do think there's a person who could afford a home that's just, their calling is to just be with, whatever, and be like, I'm gonna live in a van, it'll be fun, and like they could be in a home. Like, it's not like, oh my god, I've lost everything, I like live out of my car.
Is there any point in time
it's a rich white person who like has a bunch of money to fall back on? They're just like,
dude, I literally in college dated a guy who lived in a van and was getting his master's PhD. I don't know, total genius.
Planet Fitness, I swear to god, makes all of their money.
Yeah.
That keeps them in business.
Yeah, and he would, oh my god, and he would make all kinds of excuses for like there was no heat in the shower that he uses, and he's like, yeah, but I'm like doing like the Wim Hof thing, like I'm trying to, like, it's just really good for you to shower in cold water.
Yeah, like I guess, like, you're not dating a homeless guy in the traditional sense, but in the literal sense, yes, like he does not have a home.
And how willing are you? This is so important. This is the number one, I think, thing. Like, how willing are you to sacrifice your comfort?
Every girl I know that has dated a van life guy ends up living in the van.
100%. You will end up sacrificing your comfort because he will not sacrifice his like ease or lack of work. Like,
yes,
no,
because that's the thing.
That's where he's gonna be, and you are gonna have to meet him on his level. Every
That's
time.
the thing about people who choose to do the van life thing. Like, if people are like living out of their car because they have no other choice, they're trying to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
They have a plan. They're coming up with a plan. Like,
Yeah.
the people that are intentionally choosing van life,
And to
a lot of times it's like
seeking to date.
that's that they've made that their thing. Like, they're having fun with it. Like, they're on a different, like, I would almost say, like, the people that are like just living out of their car because they have no choice, like actual homeless people, maybe are better than the van life people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
The van
just
life,
ask Gabby Petito. That was probably too soon. Really,
but
fucked up
that's
to
van
say.
life. That's like van life couple. I think like living in an
But
RV.
it's a shtick. That's the thing about people where it's van life people. They make it a shtick and they like lean into it. Like, I'm the van life guy.
But why are you seeking a normal woman living in society? You should be looking for like a granola dread-headed bitch to live with you. You should be looking for somebody that lives by the same standards. But for some reason, they're always like, nah, yeah, you should come again. Sacrifice. Come do what I do.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah, you don't have to. I don't shower. Why would you need to shower? I don't have to put on makeup in the morning. Why would you need to do that?
This is a blanket statement for all crazy people dating, whatever your gender, whatever your sexual orientation. Why do all the crazy people that want to do crazy shit, like, they never want to look for like-minded people? They always want to pull like a normal person into their stick. Like, it's like, so many times you could be like, oh, you want like a person who doesn't want to do, who
Never
like
again.
is a, hard,
Never
like, you're a hardcore conservative, blah, 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 blah. Like, why do you want a liberal woman? Or like, you're a van life person. There's a bunch of granola girls over there. Nah. Or like, I want a man who's like a blah, 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 like a provider, but it's like, okay, cool. Like, go look for the guy with the traditional values.
Yeah.
No. Like,
Yeah.
it's always like, fucking,
Cake slut.
everyone's a cake slut.
Cake
you
slut.
fucking whores.
We're
Having we are over time.
I had to read that last one.
I think it's the gates of heaven. We were really trying to
locked in.
let us in, God.
Yeah.
Maybe if we homeschool our kids, ain't gonna happen. Anyway,
okay, you guys.
I love you guys. I love you.
Wow, I love you. This was so fun. It's been a while.
Let's go hang out.
Okay.
All right. Catch y'all on the flip side. Bye.
Ciao.